with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, what do y'all think about the title? Just when you saw the title, when you looked at it, when you look at this title, how self-centeredness stifles true connection, what's one of the first thing that pops up in your head?
For me,
True.
First thing popped up for me was that's a norm for society today. We make songs, me, myself, and I, and things of that nature, and it's all about me, give me the ball, and it's all about the me being lifted up versus we being lifted up. If I'm not getting the ball, then I don't care what the team doing. We could be winning, but and we see it in sports, we see it in daily life, we see it in our households because it has everything to do with me being happy and not we coming to a conclusion where we can coexist and make each other happy.
I didn't know if Coach was going to jump out there. Oh man. So when I think about this, to be self-centered and look for connection is a walking contradiction. It's an oxymoron in and of itself, because in order to connect, it has to be about two or more parties, right? Even if you talk about connecting with the Most High, it's still about two or more parties. There's a selflessness that goes into connecting with someone. So as long as you are self-centered, you're worried about you. You're not looking for connection. You're looking for people who are going to please your ego, who are going to give you what you're looking for. And 9 times out of 10, you're not looking to give back to that relationship.
I gave my response already. True.
There you go. We'll leave it at that then. I'm okay with that response. Moving right along. With that being said, we're going to start off with some baseline definitions to kind of set the tone for the conversation. So again, the topic is how self-centeredness stifles true connection. Self-centeredness is excessive focus on one's own needs, desires, or opinions, often at the expense of others. Gentlemen, what say you about this definition? We want to add to, change, take away, or we kind of okay with it? One thumbs up. All right, let's roll with it. The next definition we have is connection. Gaddy started talking about connection and stuff like that. So the emotional bond that forms when two people genuinely understand and value each other. That's a connection.
I'm good with it.
Okay. It's a good connection. Have bad connections too.
I can live with that.
Yeah. All right. You good with that one, Ro? All right. Next, we got empathy. Empathy is the ability to feel and understand what another person is going through. Coach be giving that smiling and that breathing over there. I'm just like, man, what's going on over there?
Well, it's just because as the conversation starts, I think we're going to understand. So for now, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good baseline, but I've never been big on the feel part of this. But
I think the part that kind of distorts me is the understand. I think relate would be a better term than understand.
See, what get me is that word feel over there. Oh. All right, moving right along. The next definition is reciprocity. Mutual exchange in relationships where both people give and receive. I like that.
I can roll with it.
Give and receive. Give and receive. Okay. All right. So with that being said, as who was it? One of y'all was talking during the beginning, and I started thinking about, a lot of times we talk about all the time talking about where I got to get it from myself, not necessarily get it from myself, but I got to take care of me. I got to, if I can't take care of me, how am I going to take care of somebody else? Or, build yourself up, all these different things like that, right? Which, in a sense, helps build confidence and stuff like that, especially, you know, when you're a young man and you're kind of coming into your own and stuff like that. So with that being said, the first question of the night is this: how do you know when confidence turns into self-centeredness? And that's assuming that confidence turn into self-centeredness. So with this question, it's always a baseline. So we can make adjustments to it and roll with it. If you want to spin off of it and kind of make it your own, I'm okay with that as well. I'll repeat the question. How do you know when confidence turns into self-centeredness?
I guess I'm the youngest one, so I jump out
Yeah,
there, you know.
young buck, let's go.
But this,
I miss y'all, man.
man, we miss y'all too, man. But man, this is it's a lot to chew on because it sounds simplistic until you really start thinking about it, right? Because I don't ever want to tell no one not to be confident, right? By the fear of walking into self-centeredness. But I think to me, sometimes the fine line is what's your confidence built based off of. Like you have some people that's just, I can do this and I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. You know, some people, their confidence is built off of a false narrative they put in their own head. You know, uh, used to we used to call guys in the smoke pit the one uppers. You know, every story we tell in the smoke pit, that one person got to have a one up story, just like your story. But they had to go they were a little better than you. They was a little tougher than you. They was a little taller than you. They was a little faster than you. You know, and so sometimes, to me, I look at the self-centeredness. Sometimes to me, it seems as if it is built on a made-up narrative that you put in your head to feel more confident, and it becomes self-centeredness. Can be true. You can be stronger, faster, and bigger than me, right? But how does that play out into your character? As if you walk as if you have an airness when you're around the rest of us, because you're just that much greater. Mm.
I think when you look at confidence, develops more humility because you understand that whatever you have confidence in, it's not for you. It's not simply by your ability. You've been given certain gifts and certain qualities that you have to make other people better around you, and not just, oh, put the light on me and start beating your chest. I can run a 4.2. I can do this. I can jump. I'm the king. Ain't no confidence in me saying I'm the GOAT. It's all about, because that way it puts me above everybody else. And anytime you put yourself above everyone else, it speaks to self-centeredness more than it does confidence, because everybody knows you have the game or you have the accolades or whatever you have. But when it comes to the actual being able to say, okay, let me pull somebody aside and show them the way. When you are confident, you'll do that. But self-centeredness, no, because I got to stay on top. It's all about me.
My response is simple. When confidence refuses to collaborate with others.
Tell me more, because I think I got an example of that.
Well, I mean, it's just that. Like when a person is so confident in their own ability. Okay, you guys remember the movie Any Given Sunday?
Yeah.
Remember Willie Beeman?
Willie Beeman.
Right. We didn't actually say, but I'm just saying. But yeah. So when you go back and look at the character that he displayed after he got to the point of playing, like that was self-confidence. He thought that everybody there was there to serve him. Right. So again, when that confidence becomes to such a degree that it does not collaborate with others, right? When you look at the confidence that you have in your quote unquote own abilities, and I'll start right there. Like, why do those abilities that you have, why do they exist? Like a lot of people like to refer to the scripture to where your gift will make room, right? So, but for what purpose? And if we never get to the what purpose piece, then it's like it's me, myself, and I, and you will exist in the world, and you probably won't be able to see it because you smelling the roses at high altitude, but everybody else can see it. So when it refuses to collaborate, that's when it turns into self-centeredness.
I agree. As all you guys was thinking, I was trying to come up with with a little story or, something that we can all, kind of relate to maybe with somebody. And I remember when I was on my second tour in Iraq, I knew someone who was very intelligent. They had a lot of confidence. They knew a lot of information, you know, um, and what they did with that information was, to kind of, if you look at the definition, it talks about at the end, often at the expense of others. So what this guy was, he was someone who was um, in our section. I'll just leave it at that. He was in our section and he knew a lot of information. He knew how to work on this, he knew how to work on that. But what he would do is, and I'm not saying that he should have, but he would hoard the information instead of sharing information with others and stuff like this, so others could, get knowledge and different things like that, and he wouldn't teach, you know what I mean? He was just that type of person in the unit who was so confident because he had a lot of confidence because he knew a lot of information and he was able to help a lot of people because he had that information. And then what happened was, it kind of not made other people look bad, but where we could have been all better because of the sharing of knowledge, he hoarded it. He didn't teach, he didn't mentor, he didn't train. He gathered information and went out and did these things. So that was kind of a scenario that I kind of um, dealt with at one time when I was in the military. And, it kind of sucked. And I don't know if y'all think that that's necessarily confidence or not. Is that someone who has confidence and kind of turns that into self-centeredness, or am I kind of way off with that?
I think people who hoard information or hoard knowledge, it has a different problem, right? It's a
Okay.
different type of complex to me. I know leaders like that, and it's almost as if you don't want no one to be a successor.
Hmm.
Like you never want to move, you never want to, as if you're never going to retire. And it feels like when you leave, you want people to know you left, so you hoard all of your contacts, all your information, all of your knowledge, and it's like, oh, we are nothing without such and such. That's not confidence. That's that you're controlling the funneling of this information. I think that's, I don't really know what it is, but it's, to me, that's something different than
Okay.
self-centeredness.
I think I would have to hear more.
Okay.
I'm always cautious when, because that's kind of like a social media thing, right? We'll talk
Mm.
about people who are gatekeeping. Um,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, like, how does the people who claim that someone is gatekeeping, how do they define that? Because they won't just give it to them. Well, you don't know what that person had to sacrifice to get it. I would say in the workplace also, it looks different because,
Mhm.
and again, that's why I say I would need to know information about this that situation that you gave. But I also know that in the workplace, some information isn't shared because you're not ready for that information as well. Like, I think there's a natural progression to maturation within the workplace. And I think some people want things given to them that they have not done the necessary work on themselves to be able to receive. So if I give you some stuff too soon, then it's going to be detrimental to you, even though you believe I need to just give it to you. Just kind of like my thoughts.
I think
Yeah, I get that.
your scenario, I liken it to when I was going to, I think, the staff sergeant board, E6 board. I had studied and studied and studied. And when I got to the board, they were asking me questions. And I know I can't hide it. My face tells it all. I thought they were stupid. I'm like, I did all this studying and this is what you're going to ask me? And I made it about me. and what I did and what I put in and what I did. And I felt like I was above these little questions. And the only thing they knocked me on was being, as we talking about, being too confident, too cocky. Because I'm like, I studied all of this, and you asked me what does NBC stand for, and which I'm looking at it. That's beneath me at that point. So that's where I could definitely say I was experiencing not a confident thing, but a self-centered cockiness.
It stands for nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted the NBC question. Shoot, give me that one all day. But I get what you're saying, though. You didn't study all this stuff, and then they're gonna ask you the most basic stuff. Yeah, but I get it. I'm looking at this question. I don't know if I like it or not. I like it, but I don't. But there's an assumption in this question, right? So, why do you think self-centered people often feel lonely or misunderstood? Again, that's assuming that self-centered people often feel lonely or misunderstood. I think some self-centered people don't necessarily know that they are self-centered sometimes. And but when we're going to skip this question. I'm going to go to the other one. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So for me, sometimes on the outside looking in, I will look at somebody and I will say, maybe not necessarily in these words, but that person is self-centered. And I would look at, especially if they're kind of close to me, I'll look at their circle and I was like, man, they don't hardly got no friends, or, it look like people don't really like them, or different things like this. But then here's where I go with this. This is why I say I'm gonna delete this question, and then I'm gonna add in this follow-up question, which is this: who gets to determine who is self-centered? So when we out there and we're looking and we're calling people this and this, so who gets to determine who is self-centered? And that's even I'm okay if we applied it to ourselves. You know what I mean? How do we know if we're being self-centered? So either way you want to go with this, if you want to throw it out there, as me looking at somebody else or yourself looking at somebody, and how you can determine who is self-centered. But at the end of the day, who gets to determine who is self-centered?
There's a principle that we've adopted in this community, I would say it that way. We give a disclaimer before we start this show, typically, that we are all masters of our own perspective. And if we looked at life more that way, we will be a little better off. Like, I can understand, like, coach may be like, man, Unc is self-centered. Don't mean I have to believe, I have to agree. So when you ask a question like who gets to determine, right? Everyone has their own opinion of how they see a person. Now, if it's a collective, let's say all three of y'all came together and was like, hey, Gaddy, we're gonna do a kumbaya because you've been acting real self-centered and real. Now, it might be definitive because three brothers, the only three people I talk to that are not co-employed in the same place as me. It's sad to say it that way, but it's not really sad. I'm happy that way. But then I would believe that these three brothers probably know me a little better today than most people do, because y'all talk to me whether here or whatever, outside of just being on live or being at work or what have you. So I have to take that data y'all gave me and do a self-examination. But I don't know if it's a fair question to really say who gets to determine it, because we all have our own perspective.
I mean, because the shorter title is how self-centeredness stifles true connection. So we are probably going to be using examples like I already did, but I wasn't necessarily accurate with that. But at the same time, we're up here talking about self-centered using examples. So at the end, it's like, who gets to determine who's self-centered or not?
I think the person does.
Ooh,
The
the person.
person,
Okay.
the way they move, because you took the first question out, but the first question leads up to this as a follow-up. So the first question leads you to think, okay, this person is this way because they built up walls. They put themselves in isolation. So if you're in isolation, you told us you determine you were self-centered. You isolated yourself. You think you're this, that you're acting like this. So when I just observe this and I say it to you, I'm saying what you told me. All I'm doing is relaying information.
So yes. What? No,
My
no,
favorite answer.
no. I'm serious when I say yes. Do me a favor and bring up that connection banner again, because this is the thing. Like, get out. I love what you said, but here's why you don't need three people. If we have a connection, one person's opinion about your behavior should be good enough for you to consider. So when we believe that we need multiple perspectives about what another person sees, then what you're saying in essence is that I don't necessarily have a connection with you. And in most cases, it's probably because they're telling you something about yourself that you don't want to hear. So you're rejecting it at the point of delivery. So relationship matters, and at the level of relationship, opinion matters. And when you go back to the question, who gets to determine? Anybody who has observable evidence of your behavior. That who gets to determine. So that means that I don't necessarily have to be the one to say, oh, well, I can determine that I'm self-centered. Sure, I can. But if I fail to do so, does that mean that any one of you can't come to me and say, hey, man, you're starting to be a little selfish right now. Can we holler real quick? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And then by virtue of relationship, I have a responsibility to look at myself based upon what you see in me to see if I can see it in me. But of course, that's going to, require some conversation. Hey, man, you're looking a little self-centered. Okay, cool. Can you give me an example? Right? Give me an example, if you don't mind, based upon what you observe, me being self-centered. And there's nothing wrong with asking that question. Now that other person feels that I'm considering what they're actually saying in real time, and we're going to dialogue about that, so that now, even in the midst of it, it's like, oh, okay, got it. I can get with that, and let me go observe my own behavior. And in the observation of my own behavior, I may even see what it is that you're saying. But if I don't see it, well, that might be true too. Then I should come back to you and say, hey, man, the other day when you told me that, like, can I ask a question about that? Is it possible that based upon what you say you've seen, could it have been through a jaded perspective? I'm just asking, right? So now we're continuing in conversation, because I should always be in a position to where I want to be better. So the immediate rejection of what somebody is telling you is not good. And that's even evidence of it.
I think the hard part about that is sometimes it's the self-centered person that thinks that the other person is self-centered because they don't get to shine.
That's why I said, if I don't see the evidence, I go back to that person and we have more conversation.
Yeah.
And if
You got to be open-minded too, and the relationship got to be there.
Yes, because sometimes we'll look at people like, who are you to ask who come at me like that?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't respect your opinion. If I don't think you are here wherever I think someone should be, then whatever your observations are, I ain't thinking about what you're saying. And that speaks to self-centeredness right here.
And it may speak to the relationship too. Because if I'm automatically being dismissive and I don't want to hear what you got to say, and I'm not even open to listening to what you say, maybe it's because I really don't value your opinion. Maybe our relationship really not like that. At least that's what I think. I got a question for us. Again, I appreciate all y'all for being here. Appreciate everybody who is here watching tonight. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. Again, I appreciate you for being here. Feel free to be part of the conversation. Jump in the chat, ask us questions, all of those different things like that. Coach always says we will derail a whole show for a question. All right. With that being said, got something for you, chat, as well. So we're going to answer this, but chat too. I know y'all can't dig deep into it, but you can feel free to answer the question. So, gentlemen, have you ever realized you were being self-centered in a relationship? Don't have to necessarily be a romantic relationship. It can relationship with one of your boys, your mama, your kids, or anybody else. Have you ever realized you were being self-centered in a relationship? If so, how did you fix it? Wasn't never me, so I just pass it on around to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Lies.
Stop lying. You're lying.
All lies. All lies.
And we ain't even got to think that hard. Everybody who got a child, yes, that was you. Every person who has a child at some stage, you were self-centered. Period.
Do tell.
Because when you first had a child, you had no idea what you were doing. So you treated your child based upon your understanding of relationship. And at that stage, your understanding of relationship was purely based on for your child responsibility. And then as long as you did what you knew was right, you gave yourself far too much credit. Self-centered. No child, no parent is perfect. No parent has the perfect, well, there's a perfect blueprint, but that's a whole nother conversation. But no parent has ever exercised parenthood the right way, 100%. And then a lot of us parents, and I'm saying us because I'm not exempt, at some point in time gave ourselves far too much credit. And I see it a lot today in grandparents. Grandparents need to sit down. Let them listen, let your kids be a parent.
I would say yes. All right, so you want to go? Yeah, go ahead.
You say you feel attacked?
Yeah, I feel attacked now.
You know what they say back in the days. They hit dog.
I'm about to say, he got about 30 some of them grand things running around.
I got a situation where I realized I was being self-centered in a relationship. This was actually during my first marriage, and we was like, I thought I knew everything about church, going to church, coming home, preaching the word at her, cut that midnight love off. We won't be watching that stuff over here. Like real self-centered, thought that in a sense that I was holier than thou to the point, you know what I mean? All of those different things. And what did end up happening? I didn't necessarily fix mine. So again, let me back up a little bit. So the being the self-centered part, there was, again, I was going to church, I got a little position, I thought my stuff didn't stink, I thought I was doing everything right, you know what I mean? And I was, feeling myself very, very self-centered, you know what I mean? You better not come at me with no nothing, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm gonna rebuke you, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna throw the word at you, and you know what I'm saying, right? So, but I was doing that in my relationship, right? So we talk about the connection. I'm doing it in my first marriage, right? And what ended up happening, it was all about me. I thought that what I was doing was trying to train her or trying to teach her, but that wasn't my responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So I was taking on someone else's role and trying to save or trying to do all of this stuff in my marriage, blah, blah, blah. And so the second part of this question is, if so, how did you fix it? I didn't fix it. I got left. I came home from work and she was gone. So life happened, and that's what happened to me. So, but then later on down the road, how did I fix it? I went in deep, in a sense, not necessarily self-centered, but self-focused and self-driven on trying not to be self-centered, focusing on other people, focusing on what I'm really supposed to be doing in life. And again, I changed all of that self-centeredness to self-focus and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I fixed it. I changed my mindset and stopped worried about, trying to do someone else's job and different things like that. So that's kind of where I want to sit at with this question right there, as far as, when I realized I was being self-centered. It cost me, I came home from work and she was gone. That's what it cost me at that time. You know what I mean? And again, I didn't even fix it then. So it wasn't until years later before I actually was able to fix it. So that's my story.
I think you got a question in the chat.
Question in chat. Where is it at? Where I miss it? You can pull it up. You start. There you go.
So I'm glad she asked this question before you even quoted, because that's where I was going. I want to mind my business, but my mama told me my mind was my business. I'm joking. Because you said, I understand everything you said, but I think also in the vulnerability, especially when we're doing it publicly, some things do need to be addressed, because if we're being honest to the scriptures, it is your responsibility to be her teacher. As the husband, you're the teacher of the house. Now, maybe the way you went about it might have came across more so, like, that's a different conversation, but that is 100% your responsibility. And I think so much today we pander to the emotions of people. So I don't like the feeling of you being my teacher, because I look at you as my friend and my equal, versus being the head of this house. And I hear that conversation a lot. All right, Roland, no, I can attest to that, because that's almost my very similar recent situation. Because you want to stay the way you are, when the Most High telling me to move, telling me to read, telling me to study, and you telling me we could talk, we just can't talk about Bible. I can't be the teacher of my house. I said, well, you got the wrong house. And so she packed up and rolled out. That's real talk. I can cry over spilt milk, but I'm not saying I did everything right. I'm 100% not saying that. But you're not going to vilify me for wanting to teach the word of God properly to my wife and to my children. That's my responsibility. So I thank you, Crystal Ever, because you was reading my mind on that one.
Yeah, I do not disagree with that young man. I do not disagree with one word he said.
Okay.
I think in the world that we live in, I think a lot of times we make these permanent decisions with these temporary mindsets. And a lot of times, what we don't necessarily understand is the ins and outs of the thing that we claim that we're committed to. And a lot of times, what we realize overall is that we discover that we're not necessarily committed to the relationship that we said that we're committed to. You know how the whole ceremony goes, right? Yeah. The ceremony, the ceremony says, commitment, right? I'm joking when I say the ceremony, of course. But we're not necessarily committed to that thing. What we do is we're committed to ourselves and we exist in that thing. And so at the end of the day, we're being that thing and we want it to serve us. And a lot of time that becomes the issue. And so when we start realizing something, I agree with Gaddy, because what I heard you say is that I was trying to do the right thing based upon what I believe, but I may not have been doing it the right way. And to be honest with you, that's part of the learning curve that we all go through. And I think I've seen somebody say, correct her behavior. Well, it's not so much as me correcting her behavior, it's me making her aware of her behavior and she corrects herself. That's how we should view it. And if we view it that way, now it gets to the point to where it doesn't look like a parent and a child. It is two adults that have come together, understanding the responsibility that we both have committed to. And once we understand that responsibility and committed to that responsibility, we understand that each person has a responsibility in the relationship. I think that's where we struggle today, because some people just want to exist in relationship and not actually understand the responsibility that they have according to that relationship.
Now, is this to the whose responsibility is this to your question, right?
Yeah, I think it was in my scenario that I talked about with my ex-wife.
Gotcha. Because I think that realizing that my first marriage, I'm like you talked about your first marriage. My first marriage, I think plain way to say it is we both were stupid. We both were immature. We both were in a space where we both thought we knew what was right and how to run a house and how to parent, how to do everything. And neither one of us knew anything. So when I got to Fort Hood, I bought all the furniture. Black leather, black and gold tables. I'm gonna have
at the black
like
and
a
gold
man
table.
Yeah, you
Black
remember
and mirror
the
headboard.
There you go. And then I'm thinking like, hey, you should just be happy. You got furniture. You should just be happy, and you ain't even paying for nothing. So me, I'm immature, she's immature, so nothing good can come out of that unless somebody mature comes into it and say, hey, let's go about it this way. So that's why mentoring is definitely needed. So when I see myself then, and then someone comes up and actually talks to me that I respect, talks to me where I can listen, now I can make the necessary changes. Not to her, like I think Coach said, I got to make the necessary changes to me. Now I offer information and insight to her to where now she makes her changes and we come to an agreement to where, yeah, we both were silly on that. Now the maturing grows and we can grow together and we can actually start walking together.
And I'm really impressed with all those answers. You know, I like the follow up to my scenario too. That's twice tonight. So I'm definitely appreciative of all of that stuff. And I'm sure the chat is too. So everybody's still there talking about Roland's furniture that he had back in the day. If y'all you can tell we all around the same age because everybody in the chat know exactly some of that same Halleck Myers furniture we talking about.
Everybody had it. That's how we know it.
Y'all have Halleck Myers?
Yeah.
Mine's was wood golden glass. So
Wood golden
Oh,
glass?
you fancy, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, he's fancy.
He
Got
New
the
York
heavy.
fancy.
I got mine from Ashley's. You know what I mean?
I ain't never even heard of that.
That's what they call Oshkosh Bagash these days.
Oh, okay. I kind of want to look at this one, but I think we may have already talked about this a little bit. At least a couple of us have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll on from this one. I'm gonna go to this one. So can you be self-focused and deeply connected at the same time? Can you be self-focused and deeply connected at the same time?
All right. I think when we say self-focus, I think sometimes I may have a mission that's given to me, for me, but for the whole. So sometimes I may have to, I'm doing the work. I got to do the leg work of it, and other people may be the beneficiaries. So I think sometimes you need to be self-focused to get your mind straight, because if I'm not right, I mean, nobody I'm connected going, if they're connected to me, I don't think they will be right. So I think when we look at self-focus, it's not a self-centered, like it's all about me and me alone. My self-focus is for me to grow so that I can spread. So that's how I see
Mm. I think a lot of this conversation, and I'm putting a disclaimer because I feel like I'm gonna say this a lot tonight, but I think a lot of it is very fine line, you know, because I'm with Roland, but I also hear a no in my head when I'm thinking of this, right? Because when I'm hearing self-focus, I'm taking out the aspect of bettering me for the whole. I'm thinking of the aspect of just worried about what I want, doing it the way I want to do it, you know. And it kind of go back to answer the question, the last question, right, for myself, because I was there as a minister of music, right? I remember I ended up in a church where, you know, bless their hearts, but I felt like the people that were singing with me were not microphone equipped. So you know, to each his own. You know, stay in the background, don't holler too loud. You know, and that was that was my. But those were the ones that wanted to lead every song, and I'm like, you know. And so when a pastor came, he said, "I want to do more praise and worship than I want to do a choir." I was like, "Look at God, won't He do it?" Which meant I'm the praise and worship leader. Give me the mic, learn your parts, and let's stay. But that was self-centered because I felt like the worship couldn't go forth if I wasn't leading, if I wasn't singing, you know, and not much, not very so. They, you know, the atmosphere, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to, it could have went on certain songs if someone else sung, but that's just how I viewed it. If I wasn't singing, unless he gave me somebody who could sing, and we had a few, don't get me wrong, but that's just that was where my self-centered part was. So it was like I'm working on my voice, I'm working on my runs, my range, I'm working on my vocal ability so that I can be able to continue to carry praise and worship. But the focus wasn't, I was working on me so this way we can bring forth a better praise together. And you get what I'm saying? Like, so it's a fine line. There's a difference. So when Roller's talking, I hear Roll talking of the aspect of becoming better at what I'm supposed to be so that the whole can work together. But if we're talking about I just want it done my way and I just want to hear my voice and I just want to be seen, then no. I don't think you can be that and have deep connection at the same time.
I don't know, Gaddon. I heard you say that, man. All I heard is hens cackling while y'all was singing. I'm 100% in alignment with what you're saying. But when I look at this question, can you be self-focused and deeply connected at the same time? Yep. You're deeply connected with yourself. That's the only person you're deeply connected with. If you never get to the point of for this cause, for this reason, like I can do all the work on myself, but if it's just to better myself, just because I want to be better, that's self-focused. But if I'm doing it because I want to, right, that's different. That's where you get to the point of recognizing, like, okay, yeah, I am doing this for the sake of those people who I'm called to serve, right? Gaddig, minister of music, Tickler Ivory and all that other great stuff, singing into the microphone like Luther Vandross. Like he did all that so that he can serve the people doing praise and worship. Now it might have been a little, I don't know, but it might have been a little self-glorification at one point in time. But then he, I'm knowing his brother like I know him, then I believe he matured out of that. And at the end of the day, he wanted to stand before the people and serve them with the best version of himself every Sunday, every time he got the mic. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. Right now, I could be wrong, but I don't know. And I think that's kind of like what we have to mature to. If it's a deep connection with myself, then it's 100% self-focused. And it's all about me, 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 and me. Right. And then that's the person I was talking about in the beginning that does not see any evidence in their own life where they're even based upon where they were improving themselves, where's the evidence that the improvement was done to help somebody else, to serve these people, so forth and so on. So that's kind of like my response to that.
Can I rebut? I got to rebut this because I'm stuck with it because I think what I'm hearing, and I'm understanding what you guys are saying, but I think self-centered is selfish, while self-focused is self-aware. Aware that I need help, aware that I need people, aware that I'm trying to elevate myself for the whole. And what Coach was saying, I see that as self-focused because I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the betterment of me helps us. And it's not just me, where I need the accolades and all of this. It's where I'm looking at this thing saying, hey, I'm growing, I'm doing that, so that we can build, because if I have a purpose, if I'm connected and I have purpose, nobody else is responsible for my purpose. So I have to get down and say, man, how can I better this? How can I move so that I'm glorifying you and not me? To me, that's a self-focus because I'm connected. It's my purpose and my purpose is to glorify him. But I got to do it in the fashion to where I'm not elevating self. I'm elevating myself as I grow to elevate us all so that we grow.
I think you're combining selfishness with self-glorification, right? Self-focus means that I am focused on myself. I can't see anything on the outside. And if I'm doing it,
you added that I can't see anything.
Wait, let me finish. If I'm doing it to serve him, it has to be for somebody else. Right. So it does not put me at the center of focus. It puts him and what he called me to do at the center of focus. And if it is what he gave me, I can't do it by myself. So it requires me to collaborate.
I'm going to disagree.
That's fine.
I understand what you're saying. I'm disagreeing because even though if he gave it to me, we understand. And I ain't walking around looking at him. But I'm saying, okay, like, how can I do this? He's always at the forefront.
Sure.
Got to be. Got to be. So
he's at the forefront of collaboration. Yes.
Right. He's at the forefront, but I can't sit up and stop and say, okay, how does this person think about this? Or how does that person? Because he gave it to me. So it's a me and him thing.
Right. But see, you're conflating two different ideas now. It's like you're bringing other people's opinion into the vision that he gave you. That's not the same thing as what he's talking about. Self-focus is me focusing on myself. I can't see anything else. Huh?
When you go to school, when you go to class, and none of us going there with you. It's the better us. It's the better you. It's the better community. But sure. You got to go and do the work and everything.
It depends on what you're talking about, right? Because if we're talking about just childhood development, that's responsibility. I didn't have a choice but to go. When we're talking about institutions of higher learning, when I went to school, right? When I went to school, I did it for the sake of what I was going to do for others. I didn't do it with it. And I know for a fact that other people can attest to that because I actually had this conversation with several people. So I can't speak about anybody else. But when, again, self-focus is me focusing on myself, not anything else on the outside.
So I'm kind of, I don't know if I have an actual landing point yet. And the first thing that I was thinking about, his divine appointment posted, she sent a text. She posted on the message board, whatever this thing is called. I don't know. But thank you for this. This is where other partners must be observant and have open communication. Know the person with. So, all right, so I don't want to take it and put it on someone else. However, this is where it gives me a little pause. Let me find the question again. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. Right here. I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking, right? If I'm a bodybuilder, so bodybuilding is a very, very, very selfish sport, right? For a certain amount of time, you have to lock in your food, your working out, your rest. Everything is very structured, but it's very self-focused sport. When I go back and I look at this comment that she say, it kind of makes it put like, if I want to go and bodybuild right now, right? That's pretty much self-focused. But if I got a good relationship with my wife, we're not going to become disconnected. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of understand where Roland is going. I don't know if I'm talking about something totally different or not. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that statement was to that question. I think that statement was to the previous question.
Oh.
Yeah. So when we're looking at this, I think the key word is focus, right? Mm-hmm. I think we can't move from that word, right? So what Roland is talking about, I don't think is self-focus. It's community focus or most high focus or group focus, because I'm doing what I do to better myself, but my focus is not on me. My focus is, if I'm going in the gym, right, and I'm throwing up 100 shots, yes, I'm becoming a better shooter, but I'm becoming a better shooter because the team that I play on needs me to be able to knock down shots, so we can be more successful at winning the game of basketball. But if my team needs me to be a shooter and I'm self-focused, I'm in there working on my handles, I'm in here working on this and working on that, because I'm trying to be something bigger than what they need, so that one day I can carry my own team. Now I'm better off on another team leading, because I didn't build myself to become the better teammate for this team. That makes sense? All right. So now what I did is I changed the focus from this team being successful to me being successful. And you hear a lot of basketball players say, I was worried about my legacy, and I've got to build my leg. Well, you're not worried about the team winning. You're not worried about the team's success. You're worried about your success. So the focus shifts. Is that making sense? I'm trying to unmuddy the water
Yeah,
because I hear
I
what both are saying.
understand. I understand, but like I guess, to kind of slide, I'm still haven't landed on either side of this. I'm still I'm still trying to think it out because in my head, like I said, bodybuilding is a very selfish sport. I'm thinking right now, if I was to go out there and train for the next year in bodybuilding, right? It's very focused. I got to get up at a certain time. I got to eat at a certain time. Got to have these meals, these supplements, all these different things that I'm doing. But I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for Shale. It's just something. It's a goal I want to accomplish by the time I hit 80. Right? I want to get out there and walk on the stage, and do a pose down. Right? At 73 years old. Yeah. Right. But at the end of the day, I don't think that my connection is going my relationship is going to suffer because me and Cheryl already have a deep connected, you know what I'm saying? So that's why as I say, I don't know if I'm talking about the same thing or not, but that's why I'm kind of hesitant to just be, on the side of Gaddy and Coach because and like I said, maybe I'm not talking about the same thing.
Can I go back to the sporting
sir.
example? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to talk about men walking around their tightest on stage. I'm just saying,
especially at 73.
Yeah. So when a young man attempts to try out for a team, is he self-focused or is he team-focused?
Probably self-focused. He's trying to get the job.
He is absolutely self-focused. He is trying to make the team. Now, he makes the team, but he is not in the starting lineup, right? Don't have the mental conversation. You got to listen, bro. You having a conversation in your head right now, right? Stop it. So he makes the team, right? Now, after making the team, he is not in the starting lineup. Sure, he's practicing and all that other great stuff, but he still may be just working off of sheer talent. And the reason why the coach ain't put him in the team, it could be because everybody else is better. But by that same token, he is not in the starting lineup. Then he goes to coach and say, Coach, I want to start. What do I need to do? And coach look at him and say, hey, man, you're struggling because, you ain't as talented as these guys, but here's what you need to do. So he goes and he works hard. Then he becomes known as a hard-working man. And those of us who watch the NBA, a lot of players who made starting lineup, but they weren't that good. They didn't do a lot of scoring, but they had a specialty. Dennis Rodman being a big one, right? They had a specialty. So now he makes the team, he gets injected in the starting lineup because he worked hard to get there. You can clearly say at that stage, he was team focused because he went to the coach and he wanted to know what's the best thing that he could do to support the team and be in the starting lineup. I think we can say that at that point. But in the beginning, just trying to make the team, that's purely self-focused there.
I love your analogy. Dennis Rodman too, Tony Allen, defensive stopper, 3-and-D and things like that. And you can go back and see Dennis was a scorer at one time. Tony Allen led Chicago in scoring, Chicago City in scoring and of that nature. But then when they got to teams, and it was, hey, we need you for this. I can't stop thinking about what I need to do. I need to be a 3-and-D. I need to do this so that it helps the team. And that's all I'm saying. Because when I do my job well, when Dennis get 22 rebounds, when Tony doing 3-and-D, D'ing them up and doing that, when he's doing his job, focus on you, don't focus on me. When I came to Fort Hood, we, all Army used to be here, and I played ball. And I fancied myself as a scorer. But when I got on the team with those guys and we're playing, I don't need you to do that. I need you to pass the rock to the big men. I need you to do this, do that. And so, like, okay. So now I had to transition my role from what I thought I should be, selfishness, to being self-focused, to being the best that the team needs. I think, because I'm understanding, I'm agreeing with y'all saying it's just a,
yeah, but that's not
self-focus.
That's not self-focus.
That's team focus.
I
You're
think
doing what
it's
the
me
team
focused
needs.
on being the best for the team.
You're
I can't
doing
focus
what
on the
the team needs you
focus
to
on me.
do.
So, and here's why I like with Unc went, right? Because he almost unmuddied the waters a little bit. I'm gonna show you how, right? Because in your scenario, and you'll see, just think about it. I liken what you talked about when you're talking about becoming a bodybuilder to preparing for deployment, right? And here's why I say that, because there's a lot of times you have to lock in, you have to separate yourself from what the family is doing. You eating different than what they're eating. You drinking, so you're shopping for you. You're doing a lot of this for you. And now what happens is, in order for that connection that you and Shell has to continue to go on, she has to take up the slack to keep that connection together, so you can focus on here. So she's allowing you to be self-focused. But if while you're doing this, she's saying, I need you here, I need you this way, I need you this way, and you can't show up there and be self-focused, because those scenarios are true. You just may have a scenario that allows her to be able to say, we don't have nothing that stops you from doing this. Now, the moment you say, I'm going to do this selfish thing, and everybody else has to be put on hold and put in support, you have a lot of work to do after the show to repair to repair those holes that were made before they become too big. You can't, now you have to, just like when we come back from deployment, we learn in our reintegration training, don't jump in there in the first week, start spanking them kids, because them kids ain't seen you or heard from you for 12 to 18 months. You got to get in there and rebuild that relationship before you can get in there and be disciplinarian again. The wife got to get used to you making decisions again. You get what I'm saying? So there's work to be done on the back end of that. But that moment, you were self-focused, because if it brought no benefit to the family, now if that was the only way y'all ate is by you doing shows, and that's your livelihood, there's a benefit for the family, but still you're asking. You get what I'm saying? That focus is on, but when I'm working and my mindset is I need to do this so the whole can be better, then it's not self-focused. Yes, I'm working on self, and yes, I'm self-aware, but the focus is on the bigger picture. That's why I said the key word is focus.
Word.
I like that little segment we just had right there. Moving along with that, we're gonna again appreciate all y'all. It's it's the top of the hour. It's 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Depending on where you at, that's where we at over here. So again, appreciate everybody for being here. Go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to share it with somebody if you want to. Right now, we're gonna jump into a segment called "Would You Rather." So this is when I'm gonna ask some questions, and the panel is going to respond with which one of these things they would rather do. That's just in case you have never heard of this game before. With that being said, at any time, gentlemen, if you guys want to gnaw down on one of these, would you rather question, whatever like that, just continue on and be like, hey man, let's stay here for a minute or something like that, and we will stick where we at. Same thing with you, chat. So, first question of the evening is this: Would you rather? Would you rather always be right or always be understood? Always be right or always be understood? And yes, you have to choose one. Understood? All right. Everybody said understood over being right. Would you rather talk about yourself for an hour or listen to someone else's story for 2 hours?
I don't know, dog. I don't know,
Depends
dog.
on who tells the story, man. Because I can't last 5 minutes with something.
But I'm telling you,
I don't know, dog. You got me in between a rock and a hard place. I
right?
don't want to talk about my stuff for now. I don't think that highly. Like, I hate talking about it, right? But I don't want to listen to you tell your life story for 2 straight hours. I probably don't even want to listen for 30 minutes.
Oh man.
So now,
Same here.
If it's if we're having conversation and we're like talking about how we grew up, how when we kicking it, I could do that. We could sit, like they used to say, smoke and joke, right? We could sit and be like, yeah, you remember, like, so, and we do it up here sometimes, playing sports, we did this, and like I remember when I used to blah blah blah, and you be like, I remember what, but I'm not going to give you a monologue about my
Like
life,
2
and I don't
hours,
want to hear
bro.
yours. And I
That's
don't want to
like
hear.
we start the show and I introduce everybody and then I just talk for the next 2 hours. Bruh. No thanks. No dialogue or anything. All right. Here we go. Moving along. Would you rather apologize first or wait to be proven right?
It's too easy. I ain't even had to wait for the second part of it.
Yeah, I don't even care about Everybody said the first one. Would you rather lose an argument or lose a friendship?
Definitely an argument.
What are we arguing about? Because I like to argue. I'm joking.
But
Here you go. Yeah. Here we go.
no. Because I think some people look at arguments. Sometimes when you're passionate about things, it's not necessarily an argument. It's a difference of opinion, and you come to a conclusion. But I think what we're speaking is where argument separates. I think we're looking for clarification at times, and people will see that as an argument.
Touche.
Lose a friend. No, I was picking. I lose them. They wasn't a friend anyway over the argument. So,
yeah.
Would you rather be known for your success or your character?
Character.
And I character a long time ago. No, let me stop.
Yeah. Character.
No, character.
Would you rather love without being loved back or be loved without knowing how to love? Would you rather love without being loved back or be loved without knowing how to love?
Can I tell y'all why I'm gonna pick two? I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm gonna pick two, right? Because listen. Every now and then we need a churchy moment in our life, right? I know we've grown up, but every now and then we need a churchy moment in our life, and this is my churchy moment because the Father loved me before I understood what love was. Right?
That's what you did.
It's hard. It's hard loving somebody and continuing to love somebody, and there's no reciprocity, right? Whether it's love or whatever, however you want to look at it, but you giving your all into someone who's not giving anything back, that becomes exhausting.
Wait a minute. You didn't move the sticks.
I didn't, because he said love without being loved back. I don't know if I could, but I can look at I because I know with the Father there's love before I knew how to love.
So shouldn't you love somebody without the need of them loving you back then?
Define love now. Let me start.
But if we're looking, I'm rolling with Gaddy only because I'm looking at the first one in a relationship, right?
Right.
And I'm just like, man, I've been in relationships where you're loving but not being loved back, and I don't like that feeling.
So in other words, what I'm hearing you say is that you're susceptible to it. Somebody telling you that they love you and you feel pressured because they said it, that you have to say it in response.
No. Now, what I'm saying is I think that there was probably a certain part in my first marriage where, like I said, I was into church, going to church, came home, wasn't being loved. You gone. So that's where I thought that you know what I'm saying? And I ain't like that feeling.
But what you're describing to me is a need to be, and somebody else have to do it. Which means that now you're open to being manipulated, because at the end of the day, I need you to tell me that.
Coach, I can't. No, nah. Nobody said. Who said that?
It's simple math.
No, so because it's simple math. It ain't what we said. Yes, it is. You're pointing the wrong way, Roland.
It's simple math, bro. If I'm existing in a relationship and I need that person to tell me that, right? I don't need
you to tell me that. I need you to be that.
Same difference.
Not the same.
Okay.
You could tell me you love me and show me hate.
Well, where's your responsibility in it? Didn't we just got finished talking about responsibility?
Yeah, my responsibility, but we saying that my responsibility is there and there's no reciprocity in a relationship.
Wait. You don't move the sticks.
No.
Would you rather love without being loved back or be loved without knowing how to love?
I didn't move the stick. That's the stick right there. No reciprocity. There's nothing coming back.
Okay.
Like, you're in a and,
Okay.
and I'm like I'm looking at this more of a romantic relationship, right? I'm not looking at this in a filial kind of way, right? You know, we have brotherly love one for another, right? And whether you love me back is not going to change how I treat you, right? I
Mhm.
get that, but if we're in a relationship, the person
Sure.
that I'm living with, I'm waking up next to, you know, there's if it's a one-way relationship the whole way through, that is extremely exhausting.
But if you go back to the question is one way either way you go.
Yes, I understand. That's
So
why I
which
picked
one is
two.
which one is better for you to love or to be loved?
That's why I put the second part on the Father.
See,
If it's with the Most High,
you adding to it now.
yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I
You
think what he
He
did,
said,
he's
if you
doing
want
the
to
same thing I did.
expound
You
on
He
it,
learn
went,
you
he
learn from
went,
rolling well. You rope a
he,
doping now, bro.
I think so. I think Gaddy did the same thing I did. We gave one spiritual example, and then we gave one relationship example.
But they weren't congruent with one another.
because spiritually, I can't love him more than he loved me. He's going to always outlove me, right? And my relationship with the Most High.
Sure.
So even when I didn't know how to love him back properly,
Mhm.
he still had grace and he still had his hand on me. He still loved me, right?
Mhm.
I can't flip that the other way.
Meaning,
That example only exists in the way in the second half, right? I can't bring I can't love the Father and him not love me back. That's just not even the
no.
nature of my relationship with him. So I have to. So if I'm going to use him for my second, I can't use him for the first. So I have to make that first one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with his divine appointment. You adjusted. You
What did I adjust?
when you go from the love between you and the Father, because he's the one to know how to love, you don't. And
Mhm.
when you look at this question, what you're doing is you're changing it around, but you're still being the recipient of it. But the love that you get from him, it's supposed to teach you how to. So now going back to the commandment, love thy neighbor as thy right, love thy neighbor, right? So how do I love? How do I learn how to love? Through the love that he gives me. So now I can love someone else, and it does not necessarily require them to have to love me back. I love them because it was a commandment to me to love.
I agree. I agree when we're talking filios type of love, brotherly love, right? I've already agreed to that. I said that my example for the first part was exclusive to a more romantic relationship.
Well, it's still, I mean, it doesn't change. Go look at the romantic relationship. What does love, what does it look like for her?
I mean, she's not commanded to love me. So
Exactly, but you're commanded to love her. That's what I'm
hey,
trying to tell you, bro.
first of all, ain't nobody asked you to make no kind of sense and come in here dissecting. I was a master of my own perspective.
You rope a doping, dog. You rope a doping. I got you.
It's hitting now. I see it now.
Quiet, when he get quiet, that might be a cue. Because that brother there'll fight. But he ain't got nothing to say.
Well, with this one, with go like that. I'm the coach on this one. I mean, because I think, and when you try to be slick and just add, the Most High, this and other. Okay, we're talking about
Be
you.
slick.
Try to be slick. Now you make it a 3-part thing. No, it's between you and this person, you and this person. So whether or not if I'm saying I'm a lover, hey, I'm showing what has been bestowed to me. I can't be concerned about what's over there. I got to continue to do my part. I got to love in spite of. No matter what someone else does, I have to do my part. So if I'm worried about what somebody else is giving, now I'm back into that selfishness.
And that's a sign of insecurity. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started getting it, man. I think I left you, Ro. I mean, I think I left you, Daddy.
I watched his face as he lost it too.
Yeah, when Coach was talking, and then when Ro started talking, like I didn't get it at first. Even the part about her saying it, it's still that feeling that I was expecting to get. I'm saying that I love her, but if I really love somebody, I'm not expecting anything in return anyway. So whether or not she reciprocates it or not, that's irrelevant. So as you guys was talking, I slowly started picking up my ball and taking it over here and going play over with these guys. That was another
Traitor.
good one. I like having my perspective shifted though. Speaking of which, tomorrow morning, a quick admin note, Saturday morning, October the 18th, 10:30 a.m. Truth About Submissiveness. Freedom and Commitment is a powerful podcast collab between Hearts of Women and Hearts of Men. So you'll see all of us men over here, and then you'll see the Hearts of Women tomorrow morning at 10:30 on this channel. All right. So Empower Perspective channel. So if you hadn't already liked or subscribed, this is the perfect time to do so. So you can catch another great episode tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. with some men and some women. It's going to be powerful and great. We talking about that S word, submissiveness. Some people don't like that word. So we're gonna see how it turn out. People gonna get called. I'm gonna tell y'all ahead of time already. Coach's number is 555-555-5555. Actually, that might be Gaddy's number tomorrow. That's gonna be Gaddy's number tomorrow.
Coach already danced on my perspective on some of what.
Hey, just scan the barcode if you want to call me.
Just get on it,
yeah. Just scan that code if you want to call me.
I think it's this way.
Just scan the code. Oh man, that was a good one. All right, so back to the would you rather's. Where we at? Would you rather take credit or share the spotlight?
Share
the spotlight. Would you rather forgive quietly or prove your point loudly?
Forgive quietly.
Would you rather build a connection or build a status?
Connection.
Would you rather be seen as strong or seen as kind?
Kind.
Taking my ball. I'm going back to the other side. Maybe on that one. I don't know.
Your ball flat anyway. Nobody cares.
My ball is flat, and I can't shoot.
That's why he don't want to make a basket with that ball.
Man, we had 17, man.
Think about the people that you consider strong.
Mm-hmm.
They're overlooked. They're taken advantage of. They think about the term when they say, well, Black women are strong. It says that they can take a lot, but it says that not only that they can take a lot, that you can do a lot too. So a lot of times that supposed strength is looked at as positive, but to the person it's a negative.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Shift Happens. 555-555-5555. Where we at? Would you rather? Ooh, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. I'm gonna go to one of these questions near the end. If y'all want to bring it up. Here you go. How does faith challenge us to love beyond ourselves? How does faith challenge us to love beyond ourselves? Oh, here we go. We got to take.
I have a question before we dive into this answer.
Mm-hmm.
Make the correlation between love and faith first.
I don't know. This is kind of something I just thought about. You know what? However you want to do it is fine with me.
Okay.
Whatever correlation.
I got it.
Yeah, whatever correlation you want to make, just set the guidelines for it, so that way we'll know if you need to. If not, then don't worry about it.
I got it. So I'm gonna make a statement, and then I let these brothers kind of expound on it. When we think that we know love, then from that perspective, we already have in our mind what the outcome is supposed to be. So what ends up happening is that we construct the narrative in our mind about what it is supposed to be. But faith requires me for me to put my hope in something that I've never seen. So I can't look at my mom and daddy or look at my aunt and my uncle and say that their relationship is a blueprint for me to live by. especially if love is hinged on faith. Now, I would say relationship is hinged on faith, but we're going to go with the question of love. So according to the question, if love is hinged on faith, that means the outcome or the manifestation of it is hinged in hope, someplace out here. So it's future focus, which means that now, according to the definition of faith, there must be evidence in my life based upon that perspective of hope, which is out here, which is also something I've never seen before. And I bequeath the rest of my time to the distinguished gentleman from Detroit in New York.
Bequeath. Look that word
up. Scripture says, if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? When we look at faith, Coach gave the definition in his what he said. So if I am walking in faith, one would have to say I know love. I have a relationship with love. It's always going to have me in a position of sacrifice. So it's never about me. It's always about others. So how does faith challenge us to love beyond ourselves? It always challenges you to love yourself, because you don't like everybody. You don't like everybody. You don't love everybody the same way. You don't have that same relationship, but you do things and you treat people a certain way simply because you have faith in the Most High and Him having the love for you through you, so that now I have to show it to them because you've been a certain way and you've done certain things. So what other people do, how other people act, I can't respond to that. I got to respond to Him always.
What a pickle you have put us in. Because so faith is the
Can I take a pivot? Can I take a pivot?
A pivot?
Yeah. Can I make an adjustment?
Please.
All right. So I'm gonna get rid of the rest. I'm gonna get rid of the rest of this question. All right. Only because I want to move down to the fact or myth, and I looked at the time, and we're running on fumes right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this question, and then I'm gonna go to our fact or myth. All right. So here we go. The first one is this: fact or myth. People who focus on themselves are usually more confident. Fact or myth?
Myth.
Myth.
Myth. I would say myth too. You can't truly love others until you fully love yourself.
Biggest myth ever.
Myth?
Yeah, I'm going myth.
Okay. I thought I've got at least one objection, one difference. Being self-centered is the same as having high self-esteem.
Myth.
I think we answered that all show. Men are naturally more self-centered than women.
Myth.
Concur. Listening to others is a learned skill, not an instinct.
Fact.
Yeah, true.
Fact. Last one. Social media encourages self-centered behavior.
Would you say get?
Fact.
He ain't get it out.
Hey, to his statement. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a resounding.
I think my flat ball by myself.
You think that's myth?
Well, somebody take them buttons from these guys.
I'm thinking about my social media feed. I'm looking at my FYPs. I'm looking what's on there. I don't know if I see a lot of self-centered behavior, but maybe that's because I'm self-centered. Who knows?
How many followers you get?
On which one?
Anyone.
TikTok, I got, let's say 1,000.
Don't matter.
1,200.
What matters is that you get followers. It's all about you. You're leading. It's all about me. My page. Come over here. Look at me. I made a post. I did this. It's all about.
Right.
So even when I tell people to like the button and share it, is that about me?
It's about getting likes on your thing. Yeah.
Right. It's about it's what social media is. And even when you said when I'm looking at my FYP, but that's specific to you, right?
Right.
That's specific to you. But when you ask the question about social media, that's not talking about your FYP. That's talking about social media. And when you look at the preponderance of the messages are clearly and definitively focused on individual self-centeredness.
I get it. Okay, I can rock with it.
And when you don't do something, like you monetize and you don't do stuff, they will send you little messages. Hey, you need to do this to draw some engagement. You need to do that. Ask for this. Put a little post up there so people can give to you. They that's what they do. Social media.
Go look at the people who are on social media that talks about accountability, partnership, togetherness. There is almost an occultic style following to attack those people. They get called names. Pick me. If a woman says as a woman, we need to be there for our men, you're a pick me. If a man says you need to be this for your woman, you're a simp. And these are all phrases that's become popularized by social media, right? And people attack these people, flag their pages, start flagging their posts so that Facebook, at least for a short amount of time, would demonetize their page so they can't get paid for the month.
Man, it's crazy.
But it's the things people do unless you go to this selfish narrative. If you're a man, you got to talk about, how men are just so much better than women. If you're a woman, you got to talk about how women are so much better than men. It makes so that the people can feel good about getting on there. They want to feel self-lifted. They don't want to see the community lifted on social media. They want to be self-lifted on there.
Got it. Appreciate those. What we're going to do, we're going to hit this quick scenario, and then after that, we're going to go into our final thoughts. And so here's a quick scenario. I'm going to keep it quick and simple. However you want to roll with it, however you want to jump on this, it's on you. We're talking about self-centeredness, stifling true connection. So here you go. Here's the scenario. Your partner says, you never listen. How do you respond?
Huh?
Call the police.
You can't win, man.
You can't win.
You can't win that. You can't win that conversation.
Oh man.
Because listen. Here's why you can't win that conversation. See that word never? It's a general statement. Is there any, what is the probability of never being reality? So when you find people who make general statements like that, they've already made up in their mind what the outcome of this conversation is going to be, and it can only work in that person's favor. I've literally heard a conversation not too long ago to where if a person says they don't feel happy, and then you go to them and ask them a question about it, and then they say something along the lines you should know, you ain't gonna win that conversation, bro. Tap out, right? But the question that I would ask, how do I respond? Give me an example of what never looks like.
So I'm with Coach on the exasperation with the word never. To me, I just hear you just raging out with that word when I hear that word. So I don't even focus on it. I feel like the only position I can play in that conversation is to sit back and listen and actually hear what you're actually trying to say through all the muff. Because once you start like that, I know that the temperature is getting ready to go higher and higher because you already played out how you're going to. me through this whole argument. So I'm not even gonna say nothing to trigger you. I'm just gonna let you go off. If the relationship is that important, I'm gonna listen and see what are you actually saying. What am I actually doing that's bothering you? Or if you might just be listening to your home. Never mind.
Your partner say you ain't listening to stuff. I think to be realistic, I'm probably gonna say, I don't know, because I can be petty. And then knowing that this low hanging fruit to be petty right here. Because you want to just say, come on. Because I want to be for real. And it's like, come on now, you sitting there saying I never listen. And that means that right now you ain't in a position to have an intelligent conversation. Because you're in your feelings and because you feel a certain I ain't never, come on now. So I think that because we talk different and I recognize that I'll probably say, okay, talk to me. Talk now. You say I don't never listen, talk to me. And that throws that out the window. You can't use that now.
Oh, Shell said I never listen. My response is going to be, huh?
Yeah.
I'm gonna prove it right.
And y'all see him show up tomorrow morning in black eye. Y'all know what happened.
Hey, I'm just looking right now to see if something gonna go flying through the screen.
Yeah,
You, Bob.
Somebody chime in the chat now. I'm just picking though. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all as mentioned, this is the final part of the show where we do our final thoughts. We're just gonna go around the horn. Each person will kind of give you their final thoughts for the day. And where we at? Where my things at? Okay. Y'all ready?
Let's do
Ready,
it.
Gabby? Roll, brother.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna kind of double back on the question we skipped a little bit. I'm gonna touch on that because what I started thinking about when we talk about faith and love, just in case we try to play that out, right? In my head, I don't see that working because the definition of faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. What am I hoping for to get out of loving? Right? So that is a sticky point of a conversation for me. First, let's start on why do I have hope out of this love other than just loving because I do, right? Or because I'm commanded to, right? Now, if the hope is I'm loving you in hopes that the Father is pleased, okay, we could spin that. But that in and of itself drags me to think of a more self-centered concept of love or of relationship or whatever. So I don't have no hope going into love. I just love because if I love you, I just do. When we look for people to give us reasons why they love us and reasons why, that's self-centered. I love you because I do. And if you love because you do. We don't try to dance it or play it around or manipulate it or try to get something out of it. Then it's no longer love. If I'm doing it to get something out of it, I'm probably moving more in the space of manipulation than I am in love.
Christ modeled a love that gives, not one that grabs. And self-centeredness flips that into making a relationship transactional instead of transformation. The scripture says, greater love hath no man than this, he lay down his life for his friend. And when you give love that to get something in return, that's not a divine love. It's a selfish exchange. The moment we start to measure relationships by what we do instead of how we serve people, then we change the whole definition of the love that Christ has shown us.
I think this is this was a fun conversation, number one. But I also think it was a very relevant conversation as well. When it comes down to this whole thing, I think we need to understand what connection looks like before we try to dive into the aspects of love, right? What does a connection look like between you and the person? Like if you've ever been in a relationship and you guys were like finishing each other's sentences, you guys were connected at such a level that you kind of felt what each other was going to say. We talk about empathy all the time and things of that nature. And empathy is one of those things to where you can actually not only understand what they go through, but you can kind of like feel it to a certain degree. I don't have to get in the boat of it or feel for them, but it's like you're connected at such a degree that you kind of, you not only you understand it, but you feel it. And I think that's kind of like what the connection is. It has to be something that goes beyond the traditional understanding of connecting, right? The traditional understanding is having titles. No, I don't think it's all about titles. It's all about the level of connection that you have on a deeper level where you actually not only want what's best for the person, but you actually want to be the person that helps them to get to it. I don't necessarily need the recognition for it. I just want to be able to help you achieve the best version of yourself, and vice versa. Now we're getting into reciprocity. I think the mistake with reciprocity is that we believe it looks the same. Reciprocity does not necessarily have to be the same coming from one person to the other. It's where you actually are doing something for the other person, and it is reciprocal. It is reciprocated. So I think getting to that point to where having that connection, having that type of relationship at a level of depth and breadth, it requires you not to be self-centered. And I think that's the thing that we all struggle with.
My final thought is, the title of the show is How Self-Centeredness Stifles True Connection. I would just ask or just say to anybody out there who may be struggling or dealing with this, if you find yourself in a situation to where you do have a connection or relationship with someone and someone comes to you with something, I would just ask you to be open-minded about it. When you have a connection with someone, in most cases, those people want what's best for you. They are in your corner, they're in your life for that season or for however long they're going to be there. And in many cases, if you have that connection, if they say something to you, they're meaning well. And it could be very well be for your benefit. So I would just ask you is to just stay open-minded about it in case someone comes and approaches you about something. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't always know everything about ourselves. And sometimes someone can see something in us maybe before we see ourselves. I'm not necessarily saying you have to listen to every single body who comes in and says something to you. But if you have a relationship with someone and they bring something to your attention, all I'm saying is maybe be open-minded to it. And that's my final thought for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, well, actually, before we close out, Jimmy, y'all have anything else y'all want to say other than for Tuesday Coach's Corner, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, next Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Be back right here, and then tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Check all of us out for Hearts of Women and Hearts of Men collaboration tomorrow, when we talk about submission. But other than that, gentlemen, y'all have anything extra y'all want to say before we say goodbye to these kind folks?
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to Lisa Keys. Greatly appreciate her support to this channel. Again, as always, whatever is donated to this channel, we turn it around and we give it right back to you. So I just want to say thank you out loud, and we greatly appreciate your contribution.
Right. All right, folks. We will see y'all again. Actually, we'll see y'all tomorrow morning at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. We out.